Well, Nana Agyeman is director of Access UK, an organisation looking at solutions to stop and search, and joins me now. Good afternoon to you, Nana.
Good afternoon, sir.
Thanks very much for joining us this afternoon. Obviously, our condolences go to the family of this teenager at this time. Another teenager on the list, a very long list, Nana, that you, I know, are all too familiar with. Let's focus on Cressida Dick's comments for the moment, though. She's confident the return of stop and search is helping to drive down the murder rate. Is it working, in your opinion?
Well, first of all, Cressida was the person that said that we cannot police our way out of this, situation. So I don't understand why, she's bringing out these statements. I don't understand how she deduced she came to the conclusion it's actually having an impact that she claims it's having, because we know that 7 out of 10 stop and search stops actually doesn't result in anything. So it's NFA, no further action. We know statistically there is no correlation really between increases in stop and search and a decline in serious youth violence. So there is a lot of studies, a lot of evidence around that. And I think a lot of these things are politically motivated. A lot of these statements, you've got politicians that are jostling for position. It sounds good to the uninformed public. So I think it's more motivated politically rather than actually having an impact on the ground.
If the numbers don't lie, though, and they can't lie, if she's declaring that stop and search has helped drive down the murder rate by a quarter, and indeed that complaints are at a record low, then that is at least a step in the right direction, isn't it?
Well, how does that correlate with us waking up every day and hearing that another person's been stabbed and killed in London? The other day was three murders, I think, in one day. So I'm not against stop and search per se. Let me just make that clear. I'm not against stop and search. I'm against the blanket use of stop and search as a weapon to address serious youth violence. I think if it's
you look at it as a weapon, do you, as opposed to a solution, Nana?
Yeah, just a weapon. I mean, like I said, Cressida has said it herself that we cannot police our way out of this situation. Dealing with knife crime in terms of stop and search is solely dealing with the symptoms. It's not dealing with the root causes of the behaviour, which is, any intelligent person will recognise that's far more important, or that's far more effective at dealing with this behaviour than actually just clamping down on indiscriminately
in terms
use.
of the interactions themselves, though, and the new protocols that the Met are following, and of course the introduction of body cams as well, that might be helping to reduce the number of complaints the Met are receiving, one would think. But how, on the other side of this, how are those protocols and the body cameras affecting how people feel about being stopped and searched in the first place?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. But what we're finding on the ground is that there's been lots of instances where the cameras have been switched off. The recommendation is that the police officer should switch on before you actually engage the person that you're, the person on the street. So there is a lot of issues around protocol and what the police should be doing. People
will be surprised to hear that. Do you think? How many times have you encountered people saying that in their experience of stop and search, the cameras weren't running?
Quite a few. There's been quite a few. There's been quite a few, cases. There was one case in Tottenham, Haringey, where there's a prominent community worker who was actually, won a case against the police recently for that exact reason. That he was stopped himself, he was arrested, and the case was taken to court.
Right,
the cameras were not running. So what I actually advocate the increased use of technology. So I've read recently, for example, they're developing these glasses that are almost like X-ray glasses that can actually look through. It's almost like sci-fi technology. Look through. It can actually detect if someone carrying a weapon. The metal detectors. I agree with all that stuff. The intelligent use of technology.
I've not heard of this technology. So essentially, they're augmented reality glasses that can spot chunks of heavy metal, something that might look like an eye. Well, I've never. That is the stuff of science fiction.
Yes, absolutely. Sounds like something from one of the movies or something. But I mean, we it's not, like I said, it's not that we're completely against the use of stop and search. But I think we know the data clearly says there is no correlation between increase and actually a fall. But it sounds good to the uninformed person who doesn't really know who doesn't know any better.
And what about the idea that tensions are being increased then with the extra use of stop and search at the moment? Describe the raising tensions from your perspective.
Well, Section 60, I'm sure you know what Section 60 is where police are actually given powers to,
yes,
if there's an incident,
without the necessary
absolutely, no reasonable grounds they can stop any.
Right, yeah.
Absolutely. So inevitably, lots of innocent people are caught up in the web, as it were. And the counter argument is that some people say, well, if you're going to have nothing to hide, then why would you have any reason to complain?
But they're often used, Section 60, as in direct reaction to a live incident, aren't they, on the night of another family? So, I mean, if you are out and about on the streets, then it's a useful tool for the police to intervene if they find somebody that they might suspect. So,
absolutely. But you see, the thing is, it's very reactive. It's very reactive rather than being proactive. So what I'm advocating is a more proactive approach to knife crime and stop and search. Okay. And that can only happen if the police, as it were, are connected to the communities that they claim to be serving. If you're disconnected from the community, you can't have an intelligence-led operation if you're disconnected from grassroots organisations like us and the community. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, okay.
Completely, yeah.
All right, Nana, I appreciate your time today. Thanks very much indeed for your input. Always very welcome here on BBC Radio London.